Ever heard of Aurochs? Sounds like something out of a fantasy novel, right?
Exactly. Massive wild cattle, extinct for centuries.
But this article suggests their story is way more tangled than we thought.
Turns out their relationship with humans is a lot more intertwined than we realized.
So we're talking about more than just hunting and domestication. So where did these aurochs even come from?
That's a big question. Scientists still debate the exact origin, but they were widespread. Europe, Asia, North Africa.
A truly global species.
Hmm.
And this new research uses ancient DNA, right?
Yep. Analyzing 38 genomes from aurochs remains, it reveals population shifts over time linked to climate change and human interaction.
Right. So the Ice Age played a role?
Huge role. The last glacial maximum caused a population bottleneck, reducing genetic diversity.
A real near miss for the aurochs.
Exactly. But then, as the climate warmed, they recolonized Europe, interbreeding with Asian aurochs populations.
So it wasn't a complete extinction event, just a major setback.
More like a massive relocation and a bit of a family reunion. Yeah.
And then, of course, humans entered the picture. Domestication.
Around 10,000 years ago, in both Southwest Asia and South Asia, the archaeological evidence shows a gradual change in aurochs' size and characteristics.
Selective breeding, essentially.
Exactly. Humans were picking the traits they wanted, and it wasn't a one-off event.
Oh,
No, it was ongoing. Early cattle herders in Europe interbred their domesticated cattle with wild aurochs.
so a bit of a genetic mashup?
A very interesting one. European cattle today still carry a bit of that wild aurochs DNA.
That's wild. So it wasn't a clean break between wild and domestic.
Not at all. It was a continuous, complex interaction.
And the last aurochs.
A female died in Poland in 1627, but their cultural impact lasted much longer. Folklore, songs, idioms, they all kept the memory alive.
Wow. Even though they were gone, they weren't forgotten.
Precisely. Their legacy is deeply woven into human culture.
And now there's talk of de-extinction.
Using selective breeding to create a modern aurochs. But the research highlights how blurry the lines between wild and domestic really are.
It makes you wonder if they ever truly disappeared.
Exactly. Modern cattle are essentially descendants of aurochs, but with a complex history of interbreeding.
Like a poodle is to a wolf, as the article puts it. That's a good analogy. The Texas Longhorn is a great example, isn't it?
Absolutely. Domestic cattle went feral, adapted, and were later domesticated again. A perfect illustration of the fluid relationship.
A full circle. So what's the takeaway here? What's the big picture?
This research shows the aurochs story is far more complex than we thought. It's not just about domestication, but about continuous interaction, adaptation, and genetic mixing.
A story spanning millennia. Amazing. And the legacy continues today.
Absolutely. The genetic history of aurochs is deeply intertwined with the history of cattle and even influences current discussions about de-extinction.
It's a reminder that the wild and the domestic aren't always so easily separated.
I see. So why is understanding this complex history so important? It gives us a richer understanding of both aurochs and cattle, their evolution, and their relationship with humans. It also has implications for conservation and future research.
Right. It's a fascinating story, and it's far from over.
Yeah.
What's next for aurochs research?
More genetic analysis, further exploration of the interactions between wild and domestic populations, and continued investigation into the possibilities of de-extinction. It's a field with a lot of potential for new discoveries.
It's a story that keeps evolving, just like the animals themselves.
It really highlights how intertwined human history is with the natural world.
That was a great discussion. Thanks for sharing your insights.